What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? We're heading to Championship Sunday, the AFC Championship and the NFC Championship going down this summer. And this is your boy, Tavon Mason, former wide receiver with the New York Jets and UVA alumni. Why? Shout out to my UVA boys team out there killing it these past couple of weeks, well, really this month of January. But we're not here to talk about college basketball. We're here to talk about, like I just said, Championship Sunday. We got 49ers traveling to Philly to take on Jalen Hurts and those Eagles. Well, definitely flying high. And we have Cincinnati Bengals, Mr. Joe Burrow, Joe Cool himself, and Jamar Chase headed out to the Midwest to take on Mahomes, an ailing Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Coming off of beating the Chiefs last year in the AFC Championship game to head to the Super Bowl. And we're going to get to that game in a few. But, man, this is going to be a super, super huge championship Sunday, especially with that 49ers and that Philadelphia Eagles game. So, like I said before, the 49ers are traveling to Philly to take on Hurts, Brown, Smith, and that insane Eagles defense. That just came off a blowout victory against the New York Giants, which has revitalized this year underneath of Dabo, rolling, steamroll to me over the Vikings. And what I mean by steamroll, not just offensively, but defensively with that defensive line that the Giants had rolling in through. The guy had Kirk Cousins on his heels. I said in my last video, the Giants scored two or more touchdowns. They would get that victory, and they was able to hold on to get that victory. The Eagles defense held the Giants to 227 total yards offensively and totaling 416 yards themselves offensively. So Jalen Hurts came back. Everybody was questioning. They have been questioning Hurts whole season. They didn't think he would be an MVP candidate. You know, they keep making excuses. You know, he got this player. He has this player. The system is set up to protect him. But that's what offense is supposed to do. That's what offensive coordinator is supposed to do, protect that quarterback, keep the game plan as minimum as possible, and throw it to that talented guys and use their legs like they do with Jalen Hurts when they need to. But when you got a decent run game, you got a wide receiver core like that, including that tight end, why not use it? I mean, that's called playing smart, not hard, and not playing towards the fans or the reporters or social media. You play to win the game, like Coach Herm Edwards said. Salute to Coach Herm Edwards, was my coach with the New York Jets. But like I said, Hurts controls the offensive effortlessly and limits his mistakes that would switch momentum to the opposing team. So I believe if the Eagles and Hurts go into this game the same exact way, and that defense coming off the ball, rolling, you know, and going into Championship Sunday, out of the four teams that are left, the Eagles defense is ranked number one in Championship Sundays. You know, they have had some issues in the last few games of the regular season and going through some of the championship games. You know, they did beat the Eagles 38-7. We did see Saquon break open for a big run. However, that defensive line, again, and I always say I believe your team should be comprised of a tough defensive line, a stout offensive line, of course having a quarterback that can maintain the game and help you win. But you got them dogs up front on that D-line and them hogs up front on the O-line. You know, it's kind of hard to beat a team like that, and the Eagles have been showing that. Hurts been having to prove himself since leaving Alabama. You know, he won a national championship with Alabama, got pushed to the back by Tua against Georgia, and transferred to Oklahoma. Show he can roll, came to the Eagles, got a little playing time here and there before they got rid of Wentz. A lot of people doubted Hurts. He can. And here they are right now going into the NFC Championship game, and Hurts carrying that team on his back with that defense. But switching over to the 49ers, and then I give my who will win at the end of this game. But going over to the 49ers, man, the 49ers got past the Cowboys 19-12, so they wasn't as explosive as we've seen in the past few games. So they just got over that hump against the Cowboys with decent play, but a well-controlled game by Purdy, man. Purdy's been playing his butt off. You know what I mean? I know they call him Mr. Relevant because he's the last pick of the draft, but the kid know how to play ball. He played ball well in college, so it's no difference. But for him to get in, get at the helm, after Garoppolo goes down, you know what I mean? Trey Lance go down, so everybody's falling. Here you go, kid. You gotta lead us to the playoffs. And I believe that probably Coach Shanahan probably thought like, well, let's just get through this season. Of course, wanting to win, but let's get through this season and see where we go with this. But Purdy's been showing, and he's been real mistake free. With his game and playing these games. Purdy had 214 yards passing, and the team had a total of 113 rushing yards combined for Mitchell and McCaffrey. So Purdy's having a good control game, just like Hurts, getting the ball where it needs to go at, and definitely using that big man, that dog, George Kittle. And we saw that huge catch against Dallas where he got the catch, changed the complexion of the game. So definitely would like to see more from McCaffrey. I know he's been kind of on the injury bubble, so we might see more from Mitchell. But I definitely want to see how Coach Shanahan game plan for this Eagles defense to keep them on their heels, right? The 49ers love to run the ball and will need to hit the go button, I believe, versus the Eagles with that pass catches to kind of like open it up for the run game. I know a lot of time we use the run game to open up the pass game, but I think the 49ers, got to use a pass game to open the run game, to be able to get McCaffrey and Mitchell rolling, especially with them dogs up front for the Eagles. So getting those check downs for George Kittle, OTB, like they say, over the ball with Kittle, getting some of those pass plays at Ayuk and Debo. I know they're going to put Debo in the backfield to switch it up. That way it takes some of the job, it takes some of the work off of McCaffrey and Mitchell. But what we got to see, we have to see Ayuk and Debo to step up. You know what I mean? They had a subpar game against Dallas, and I know that's not what Debo like or Ayuk like. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to burst on the scene for this game against the Eagles. That will also take pressure off of Purdy being the front runner or being magnified to lead this game against the Eagles defense. So with those three, Ayuk, Debo, and Kittle, which I believe Shanahan might use more to open up the passing game for the 49ers to keep that Eagles defense honest. I mean, the 49ers defense, they ain't slouches either. They second going into this championship Sunday, and with Bosa on the edge, and with that defensive scheme, the way they're flying around, it's definitely gonna have to spy, and they do have a spy. We're having a spy on Hurts if he decides to run, and having to cover A.J. Brown, which is a huge receiver coming down the field. So it's definitely gonna be something to see of how Kyle Shanahan game plan against the Eagles on Sunday, and seeing which way he go. Will he use the pass game to open that run game, or he gonna stay true to the 49er nature and start run to fill out the game to see if he has to pass? Also, will he have quick passing for Purdy to keep that Eagles defense off his back, keep the defense off of Purdy's back? That way the linebackers can't play up. They have to play that 5 to 8 yard range, and they have to drop back because they got to respect Debo and Ayuk coming across the middle, and an OTB by George Kittle. OTB means over the ball for George Kittle, playing that option route between the middle backer, the Mike backer, and within that zone, just floating around to stay in Purdy's vision. So going on to the late game, like I said, I'm going to tell you my picks after I finish my little breakdown of my synopsis, as we like to say. So going into the late game, we have a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. Now, we got the Bengals traveling to Kansas City. So we got Joe Burrow going against Mahomes and that Chiefs offense and defense. The crazy thing is, you know what I mean, Joe Burrow is 3-0 versus Mahomes. That's in the regular season, including the playoffs and the AFC Championship games we saw last year. And the Chiefs, and that was versus the Chiefs when they had Tyreek Hill. This year we saw Mahomes having to spread the ball around more equally. Still got Kelsey in because that's their number one guy. Like George Kittle is a big piece of the 49ers. Mark Andrews is like the number one guy on the Ravens in that last year Ravens offense. Kelsey's still that guy, but we know and saw what Tyreek Hill can do with getting vertical, coming across in one-on-one matchups and switching matchups, meaning going from breaking through the zone and having to have a linebacker pick him up coming across the field. It ain't gonna happen, Captain. It's not happening. So definitely looking to see how that fares out. But the Bengals have shown why they are the AFC North big dogs, especially after losing that game early in the season against the Ravens. They just went on a tear. You know, we got that two-headed monster at running back with Joe Mixon and P. Ryan, you know, finesse with Mixon and can bang. And you got P. Ryan that can bang and love to drive. And we saw that last week against the Bills where he just was just pounding it up the middle. But the crazy thing is both backs also can catch the ball out of the backfield. So not only do you have to cover those two guys and tackle those two guys, you also got to figure out what you want to do. You know, stop the run, or you're going to drop back into pass coverage and try to stop superstar Jamar Chase. Then you add Hayden Hurst. Then you add Boyd. And then you add Higgins, which is a D coordinator's nightmare to try to game plan against. Because, like, are you going to take the chance to stop the run? Or are you going to take the chance to drop back in coverage, send pressure to try to move Burrow off his ground to throw an errant pass or throw an interception? So the D coordinator tomorrow for the Chiefs definitely got to come up with a game plan on how they're going to balance that out, because the Bengals, man, they've been rolling and it's crazy. You know what I mean? Cincinnati do have one hiccup. You know what I mean? They got major injuries on their O-line. You know what I mean? They did pretty well. They did not pretty well. They did well last week against Buffalo with keeping Joe Burrow pretty clean. But again, they gave Josh Allen and the Bills a run racking up over 400 total yards offensively, including 172 rushing yards between Mixon and P. Ryan and 240 passing yards in the snow. So yeah, it's going to be cold in Kansas City tomorrow. Not sure if it's going to snow, but dry, cold weather, that's what the Bengals playing anyway. That's the AFC North football. You know what I mean? Burrow and them are going to be ready. But again, how will that O-line fare up to Kansas City and that Chiefs defense? On the Chiefs side, the Chiefs are coming off a close victory against the Jags, 27-20. And again, Coach Doug Peterson got those Jags right, and we saw what they did this year. But Kansas City was able to hold on, and that's after. If y'all saw that nasty tackle, that's why I do not like that type of tackling where you wrap around the back of his shoulders and you just slide down and you just put all your weight down. If y'all saw how his ankle got caught under, that reminded me of Dak Prescott and his injury. I hate that type of tackling when guys do that. Instead of just getting them down, they grab on and they just put all their weight down and bend back. But Mahomes came back limping, you know, didn't want to leave his team out there. And, you know what I mean, that ankle will be tested in Sunday game. You know what I mean? So I believe, and I know Andy Reid, man, his mind is tick, 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 you know, with how he want to call an offense and, you know, Eric B. enemy of what they're going to put together, because everything just, you know, is crossed and they may have you going straight and somebody leaks out underneath. And while they pull all your guys out, you got a Kelsey or a wide receivers leaking across the middle. Even you got a running back leaking out there. So many options for Mahomes. But with Mahomes being not fully mobile, even though they said, you know, seeing him move around this fast after a few days after that game, he still is going to be testing. It's different than when you're in practice and you're not doing contact to where you're being chased down. So I'm definitely looking to see if they're going to go heavy run with Pacheco and McKinnon to help Mahomes and also to keep the Bengals honest. So we know Kelsey is going to be key for the Chiefs. He's always key with the Chiefs, and I know he's been talking about issues with his back. They say probable, but Kelsey's going to play. We know Kelsey's going to play. So I think to help Mahomes, me personally, I think we'll see quick game will be in heavy rotation for the KC as well. What I mean by quick game, catching with 3-step drops, 3-step drop for the quarterback, 3 steps for the wide receivers, quick crossing routes against zone, hot routes against blitz. Because I know Cincinnati gonna see that blitz to test Mahomes' mobility to see if he can get out. So that's going to be key tomorrow to see if the Chiefs can get past that blitzing. And we saw in the Bills game one play where the Bills sent the nickel blitz. They sent one of their DBs on a delayed blitz. So we definitely want to see that with Mahomes. They're going to probably try to hold as long as possible so they can have that leak out of Kelsey to do a dump off or even to the running back and blitz Mahomes to see if he can get out there. Yeah, we saw that Mahomes practice and showed a fast recovery days after the injury. But also got to remember, again, if you're not practicing where you have to really test it out of being chased down unless they put that in there. They don't show everything on NFL Network or on, the sports shows because they don't want everything put out there because this is a huge game and it's a huge injury to that star player. So we're not really being tested when you got to go from that to as soon as that whistle blow, the ball is kicked off, you on offense, and you got that Bengals defense honking you down on being able to move. I think the Chiefs defense, especially Chris Jones and Frank Clark, will be key to help stop Burrow from being comfortable in that pocket. So the Chiefs definitely have to find a way to keep Cincinnati offense off the field, so more 3 and outs, give that ball back to Mahomes and them, and also to pressure him as well to kind of even it out with Mahomes having that injury. If they can get back there and cause havoc and cause problems for Burrow, that's basically like having an injury because you're not allowing him to go through his progressions to see pass-wise, to find a Chase, to find a Boyd, to find a Higgins, and to find Hurst, who is a safety valve, even same with them, their running back group who can catch the ball. So I'm definitely looking forward to that Chief defense to see if they can get Burrows a little shaky out there. So going for my picks for tomorrow, AFC and NFC championship games. Tavon Mason's picks. Drum roll. Boom. So my first game, I got the Eagles coming out of it. 49ers, on paper, stacked. McCaffrey in the backfield. You got Purdy who's doing his thing. You got Trent Williams at the left tackle is doing his thing. You got Debo. You got Ayuk. You got Kittle. But I still believe the Eagles have a different fire and more with them coming out. And they playing at home, with the way the game plan is for Jalen Hurts. And if you think about it, even though Jalen Hurts has been in the league a lot longer, him and Purdy are kind of like the same with how they're grafting the offense around these guys and controlling that game. But I do think that the Eagles will come out on top to make it to the Super Bowl, and definitely would love to see Hurts go to a Super Bowl to continue to prove the doubters wrong. But I'm also rooting for Purdy as well because I know he's still proving himself because they do have Garoppolo and Lance on the back end. Lance get healthy, and I know that's going to be big decisions on the offseason for Shanahan on which way he go, especially with how Purdy ended up. So I'm definitely going to go with the Eagles on this one. And for our late game, I got Joe Burrow and those Cincinnati Bengals coming out on top. And it doesn't have nothing to do with Mahomes' injury. It's more so on how Cincinnati have been clicking again. Like I said, after that early loss to the Ravens, even though it wasn't a big loss, the early loss to the Ravens, they found a button, not found, but they hit a switch to allow them to flow the way they roll. And we saw that as the regular season chopped on, and what they did to Buffalo in the second round of the playoffs after nearly losing to the Ravens, which was really a fault by coaching with Harbaugh and that offensive staff with calling that play on that 1.5 yard line with Huntley, but the Bengals came out firing against the Bills, and I picked them last week for them to beat the Bills, just for the simple fact of how well that offense plays. And I think the Bengals defense plays, they go how the offense go. So if Joe and that offense is rolling, even despite having the offensive line issues, that defense pick up their game as well. So I'm looking to see the Bengals will take it in the AFC North, and I'm seeing the Eagles taking the NFC, not AFC North, but AFC Championship game, and I'm looking for the Eagles to win an NFC Championship game, to have a Philly versus Cincinnati Super Bowl. But it's definitely going to be interesting. And again, y'all, this is just my thoughts and my opinions. Your boy, Tavon Mason, former New York Jet wide receiver. Don't forget to click that subscribe button and follow your boy. Peace.